The question is whether there are animal infections recorded with Zika virus, and the answer is yes. The first cases where Zika was first isolated was from macaques, so from non-human primates, and they obviously can be infected with Zika virus and could be a reservoir if there are these animals in certain countries. They are locally they are present, so they could play a role as a reservoir. There have been a lot of studies lately done with, not a lot, but some few studies done understanding what kind of animals are susceptible to experimental infection with Zika virus. There are two studies I can record or summarize here. One was done by Dick Bowen in Colorado State, and the other one was done by the people in Saskatchewan in Canada. And the Dick Bowen study used, and I'm sorry I have to go, a whole series of different animal species, from amphibia, reptiles, snakes, up to cattle. And what they found is that two animals are susceptible to virus replications after experimental infection, and these are the armadillo and frogs, the leopard frog. And many animals develop antibody responses after experimental infections. And these animals are rabbits, goats, pigs, frogs, and ducks. The Canadian study mainly worked with pigs, and they found that especially very young pigs are susceptible to Zika virus infection, experimental infection again, and could replicate the virus. And so, to summarize what's known about natural reservoirs, we know that macaques, humans, and certain mosquito species are susceptible, and especially in the old and new world, these mosquito-human cycle is the major cycle to maintain the infection. We also, because the virus arrived in the New World, have done, or scientists have done studies on susceptibility, and it looks like that even amphibia are susceptible to virus replication, and several animals like pigs to virus replication and antibody production. So what is the role, obviously, or what happens if these species, which are susceptible to experimental infection, will be naturally infected? This is speculation now. If the cycle, which is right now mosquito Aedes aegypti, human Aedes aegypti, human, adds a new variant, maybe an amphibia, or the pig, feral pigs, it could change the whole epidemiology of the disease. So far there's no evidence, but there is a chance, if the virus changes its genetic makeup, if the environmental conditions are right, that some of these species I just mentioned before could be infected.